Hi crafters, Karen here, and welcome back to another 12 months of Christmas video. In today's video, I have used up this classic Christmas Noel Classique 12 by 12 paper pad by Recollections. I've had this in my stash for quite some time. I did use a few sheets in previous projects, more for like sheet load, collaboration hops, things like that. But I still had plenty of sheets left, so I thought I would bring this out and use it up. Now, you get 2 sheets of each design. You get a total of 24 designs. And if you look here on the cover, you get a variety of things. You get the ephemera, all of different sizes. There were 2 sheets of 4 6x6 size ephemeras. There were border strips. There were other ephemera pieces that were maybe like 3x4, 2x2, 3x3, 2 by maybe 3.5, just different sizes, and I used them all. So before I show you my cards, let me just go ahead and show you what my total here is and what I made. So I did make 16 tags, and there were 2 sheets of 8 tags per sheet. So I just cut them up and cut off the edges, and you'll see that in just a minute. So I thought I would just save those for my Christmas tags for Christmas. And then I made 8 6x6 cards. I made 91 A2 cards, which totals 99 cards. And then I do have it says 1 gift bag. I didn't make it, but let me show you what I do. So here is there's 2 sheets here that look just like this front page that you see. And when I get sheets like this, I actually put them in a page protector, and I put them away, and I make them as I need them. So I actually ran out of time to make this for the video, but I just wanted to share with you what I typically do when I get sheets this size and with this type of design where you're not really sure how are you supposed to cut this up. So that's what I do. I turn them into gift bags. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get started with the cards that I made. I'll start with the ones that I made without sheet loads, things that I just made on my own, no template. So these are the 16 tags that I made. And again, there were 8 to a sheet. And I just trimmed off the corners. I punched out the hole in the middle, and I threaded it with my twine that I have in my stash. And so now I have these for gifts next Christmas. So those are my tags. So that was pretty easy. I had contemplated on turning them into cards, but I am low on my tags, so I thought let's just stick with that. All right, so for my 6x6, now these were I got 2 of each. So you get 4 on 1 sheet, and then it comes with 2 sheets. So that's why I was able to get 2 cards. And yes, I did stamp the inside with a sentiment. I want to make sure that I do that. That way it's all ready and set to go, and I don't have to worry about that later on when I'm trying to get everything together and send out my cards. These will most likely be donated, which is totally fine. I typically don't mail out 6x6 to family and friends. And then my other stash here, now these vary. These again are just pieces that came from the paper pad. So again, I had this 3x4 ephemera piece, and I just cut that out. And then you can see here in the background, I had this off-white pattern paper. It has snowflakes on it. It's got some branches. You'll see the other part of that in just a minute. I'm going to show you how what I did with all of that. So here's the 4x6 cut apart, and I just trimmed those down to fit onto my cards. Again, more cut aparts. And I had this deer die in my stash, and I just cut it out and added that to the front of the card. And the Happy Holidays was already on there. Okay, and now these are cards where I just, I got down to scraps, and I was just trying to use up the scraps. And again, just brought in a Christmas sentiment. I had that scalloped circle die in my stash. Again, putting the strips together, using some embossing folders for the background. Now, this was a border strip sheet, and there were 2 of them, and I just cut them down to fit on the front of the card. And then I layered it with this gold foil cardstock, and I did that with all of these. All right, so this pattern paper, you can see that there's some like buffalo check or maybe some gingham, and that was up on the top part of the 12x12 piece of pattern paper. And then on the bottom there was this long strip, 12 inches, of poinsettias. So I cut those down because I wanted the poinsettias to be on the front of the card, and that's what I got there. And then I did use the gingham or the buffalo check in other cards that you'll see later on. Now this pattern paper, this is really pretty, kind of like the same thing. It's an off-white color, and then it has some snowflakes. It has the branches with pine cones and berries and poinsettias. That was in one corner of the paper, and then I had this Santa on the other side. So it was perfect because I was able to cut him out at 4 inches, and that's all I did with the Santa was cut him down to size, and then I glued it onto a red piece of cardstock for a backdrop, and then I added a sentiment to the front of the card. And all my cards are stamped inside. And some of them, you know, I didn't use the same stamp for all of them. So I do have 2 Santas. I have the 2 poinsettias with the branches. And then I do have this Joy card. This Joy is actually a die set from Spellbinders. And the paper that you see in the middle, that was actually scraps. And I just cut that out, layered it in there, cut out some of the leaves in the green foil. I had some of the red cardstock, and then I just brought in some of my gems to add there on some of the stems. All right, now those are the cards. I'll just share with you the sentiments there. See, again, different for, you know, the cards, depending on, you know, which direction the card was in. So this one I was able to get 1, 2, 3, 4 using that border strip paper. And then the warm wishes with that pretty bird. All right, now we're going to get into, the rest of the cards that I made, I used Call Me Crafty Al's sheet load of cards. And we'll start here with the June 2019. I pretty much stuck with the template that you see here. And you can see I had some of these scraps, and I thought I would just bring them in and add my sentiment. And then I also used some of those scraps for my fishtail banner. And then inside, if I had any extras, I would just add it to the inside of the card. And then that was one of those ephemera pieces or cut aparts that was on a 12x12 piece, just cutting it down, added a brad. And then this fishtail banner here that you see on both of these cards, that's that off-white pattern paper, and I just used that. And this was, again, one of those borders. I just cut it down. So some of them do have the sentiments on them and some do not. And that's okay. So now I get to these. You can see that for these cards here, I have that pattern paper that covers the whole front of the card. And when I was trimming down that Santa, I had to cut down to different sizes. So I was able to just get a 4 by 5 1/4, and that works too. So you can, change it up any way you want. This was also another banner on one of the sheets, this as well. And again, just adding the sentiments to the inside. Might run out of space here, guys, because I'm a little crowded here today, but that's okay. All right, then I brought in the November 2019 sheet load, and I pretty much followed it to a T and used the two different pattern papers, brought in a Season's Greetings sentiment, and added one to the inside. This is a Woodware Christmas sentiment stamp set. So you get, I think 4, yeah, you get 4 that look like this, and then this is the opposite. So, you've got like this design here in the background, and then the stockings here on the front, and then just the reverse. And again, adding the sentiments into the center of the card, in the inside. Moving on to the February 2020. Now I did change this up a little bit. You can see here in the picture that there is some twine or string, whatever you have that you want to use for that. I didn't do that. So instead I brought in my snowflake embossing folder, and I just cut it out with the gold foil, and then I just added my sentiment on top of that. And then the inside of the card, same kind of sentiments, and pretty much the same here. I did change colors for some of the sentiments. And then these are the reverse, so the snowflakes in the background, and then the wording here on the front. And then I did have some smaller snowflakes that I had extra, so I just thought I would use those up. All right, moving on to the May 2020. Now this circle here, this was part of that ephemera piece on one of the sheets where you get the variety of sizes and shapes. And there was like a red border, and it was like on a 2x2 square. So I just wanted the circle, so I just used my nesting circle dies to cut that out. And I was able to get 2 cards with that same sentiment. So pretty much followed the sketch that you see there. All right, moving on to June 2020. Here you have 3 fishtail banners with a pattern paper background, and that is that gingham or buffalo check that I was telling you about earlier. So I was able to use that. And then these tags, those I just cut out of the paper. They were part of that ephemera piece. Punched holes, added some brads, and then used some of the red scraps and added a sentiment. And then added one inside. Now I'm moving on to the October 2020. And I pretty much followed the sketch, and I did make a total of 8 cards with this sketch. So I have the first 4 here, and then I've got these 4. So basically, just flip-flop or reverse. The Merry Christmas, that was a stamp and die set from Tailored Expressions. All Occasions, 3, I think it is. And so again, just adding some sentiments to the inside. And that is that set. All right, now we're going to move on to the November 2020. So of course, you know, as I was getting down to scraps, this was definitely a great sketch to bring in to use up those scraps. And this calls for 6 cards, but I was able to make 10. So again, used my scallop circle die, used one of my Christmas sentiment stamps, just mixed up the different pattern papers, added my sentiment to the inside. And I just think that bird is so cute, and I was glad that I was able to cut it down to fit there so it could be seen. Again, just changing up the patterns. This is a Tim Holtz Christmas sentiment stamp set. This was actually one of those border strips. Again, just trying to use up all the scraps that I had left. I think all the sentiments are pretty much the same inside. Yeah. Here is the May 2021, and I got 2 cards from here. Now, I don't know if you can see, but maybe right there, I did use a snowflake embossing folder on the gold foil cardstock. And then I had, this was an SVG that I got from Call Me Crafty L, because I am a channel member, and channel members, certain channel members will get, they get different kind of perks. And this was one of the perks that I was able to get being a channel member. And that is, let's see what I did for the stamp on the inside. This Christmas, we wish you the very best. And moving on to the December 2021. Now you can see here that the oval is vertical, and because of the sentiment that I chose, I turned mine to horizontal. And then there's more of that gingham paper that I had left with those poinsettias on there. Let's see what my sentiment is. This Christmas, we wish you the very best. And what I did with my sentiments is I used my VersaFine Clair ink, one of my green colors, and then I heat embossed it, just put clear embossing powder over it, and maybe you can, hopefully you can maybe see that shine. You can definitely see it in person. And I was able to make the whole set, which is 9 cards. All right, moving on to the February 2022 sheet load. So here, pretty much followed the sketch. I just, because of the sentiment I used, I covered the whole strip, and then I just brought in one of my snowflakes that I had in my stash. That is some white shimmer cardstock. And then my sentiment is wishing you all the timeless treasures of Christmas, the warmth of home, the love of family, and the company of good friends. And then here I have the March 2022 sheet load, and I pretty much followed that template. I was able to get 1 card from there. You can see in the background here for these strips, I embossed some white shimmer cardstock with the snowflakes. I cut out that snowflake with the gold glitter cardstock, added a Merry Christmas sentiment on my fishtail banner, and then added another sentiment to the inside. All right, we're almost through. We're almost through, getting to the finish line. Here is the July 2022, and I was able to make a full set of 12 cards. So you're using 3 different pieces of pattern paper, and again, I used a large sentiment. This is a Tim Holtz sentiment. Oh yeah, this is the one where I think I stamped them on the wrong side. So, yeah, I do that on occasion, and yep, it's all this set. So I think what I'm going to do is I may cut this out and then attach it to another card base. Because I think I did that with this whole set. Yeah, it looks like I did. Well, maybe not the whole set, but let's see how many cards. I don't even remember, honestly, to tell you the truth. Just wasn't, I don't know, I just wasn't obviously thinking when I grabbed the cards to put the sentiment in. Oh, there we go. There's, hey, yay. So, yeah, I will definitely fix those before those go out. And then last, but most certainly not least, I have the February 2023 sheet load. And if you saw earlier today, there is a sheet load rewind collaboration hop hosted by Call Me Crafty L. And this was our sheet load rewind, this template in particular. So again, I had some of these scraps. I brought those in, added a sentiment with pretty flower here. And then there's more of that gingham or buffalo check. And then on the inside, I added my sentiment. And that is everything of this paper pad, the Classic Christmas Noel Classique. So that is one of my 12 by 12 paper pads that I am happy to have finished. And that wraps up another video, guys, and I hope that it has inspired you to go in and tackle your Christmas stash. And until my next video, I hope your day is a crafty day. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.